Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to our video in the meeting 5. And now we're talking about the translation strategies. And if we are talking about the translation strategies, we have something process, of course. And in this process of the translation, we have maybe press 1, which is the analytical process, and then press 2, of course, to transfer process, and which will look at different strategies and method of the translations. And then the purpose of the translations method and procedure, and of the translation itself, so is to achieve a maximal equivalence or maybe equivalent effects. Okay, and then if we are thinking about the equivalent effect is practically the same as maximal equivalent. And then what is the term of the equivalent effects? The term is to revert to the target text having the same effects on the target text reader as the source text has a own source text reader. So note that the term maximal equivalent does not imply this focus on the readership, but like maximal equivalent, a totally equivalent effect is impossible to achieve. But with a high level of naturalness, among other things, it is possible to at least achieve optimal equivalent. Okay, that we are taking more material about the translation strategies. Translation distinguishes between global translation strategies and local translation strategies. Well, the first we are talking about the global translation strategies, or we can call it the translation method. That overall strategies you apply to text as a whole, the text, and then the primary choice you have to make here is how close the source text you want your target text to be. And then for the second topic, we are going to talking about the local translation strategy, or we can call that translation procedure. If the first we call that translation method, now we call that translation procedure. Nah, strategies you apply in these translations of individual expressed in the source text, such as a word, a grammatical constructions, or maybe about the idiom, about the phrases, or the etc. That. So what is the global translation strategies? You have to make the choice between imitative translations and functional translation. Well, the verse striving to return as much of the purely formal aspect of the source text, and the latter aim at the getting the message of the source text across. And even if the text drastic change in the former aspect to the text. And now we are talking the network list the following translation method, which essentially fall along of the gradual rate of different type of the focus, one extreme being total focus on the source text or language, and the other extreme being total focus on the target text or language. So we can call for the source text focus is about the imitative translations. For the target language is focused about functional communications. Then now about the imitative translation included 1. Word from word translations, and then preservations of the word other, and as literally translation as possible of individual words including culture word. And for the second, literal translation, of course. And then literal translation is apart from literal as a possible translations of individual words. grammatical structures and convert into the neither's target language equivalents. And then for the next is five-fold translations. And about the five-fold translations, they is possible within the constructs of the grammatical structures of the target text, but draws on the center contextual factor. And the last is semantic translations. About the semantic translations, more emphasize on naturalness that is in factual translations and translations of certain culture words into the natural equivalent in the text language or the target language. Then the last, we are talking about the target text or functional communications, including one, adaptation, and then the phrase from the translations, and more of the target language or culture based interpretations of the source text that translations, such as this is sometimes called this documents design. So for the next focus is about the retranslations, about the focus on the context of the target text rather than the form, which means that the same context is expressed in the target text but with very diverse grammatical structures if needed be. And then for the next is idiomatic translations. We know that idiomatic translations make us of idioms and collocations that are not present in the source text. That for the last is communicative translations. They aim at the reproducing of the extract message of the source text content wise and content wise, but with emphasizes the natural and acceptably or cooperative to the target text readership. Then now we are talking about the local translation strategies. That for the local translation strategies, here maybe about the direct procedure and indirect procedure in other. For the local translation procedure, maybe we can I will give you some explanation about direct procedure. For direct procedure, we have five definitions about that. The direct procedure, you can say the literal translations and transfer the translations and translation line and translations and naturalizations. This is the direct procedure. So where is the indirect procedure? Indirect procedure, maybe you can equivalent the text and then culture equivalent, functional equivalent, and descriptive equivalent. So about the explanation, maybe we will talking for the next meeting. Okay, thank you very much for this occasion, guys, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.